Hey guys, this is Nick Campanella from Taylor Timepieces here in Brooklyn. And on today's episode of Off the Cuff, we're going to be talking about something um, that maybe came a little too late for a lot of people, but, or if you're a dude, maybe a little early if I'm being honest. And that is going to be holiday gifts for your loved ones. I know as of the time of this recording, it is the 23rd. But I thought that it would be a great video idea for anyone who's looking for some last minute shopping for their loved ones and help maybe for themselves. You know, you guys have supported me all year. I'm sure you guys have had a great year yourselves. If not, I wish that the next year is even better for you. And you deserve a little something. So, I mean, I picked out 3 pieces here from our collection of over 300 pieces, and all these pieces are, you know, sub $10,000. 2 of them are, you know, under $2,000, and I figured we would discuss. What I have here is a gift for perhaps a woman in your life. We have something that is perhaps for the child or the young man or young woman in your life. And we have something for the, you know, the father figure or the brother or perhaps yourself. So I figured we'd go over them. The first piece that I chose is this vintage Omega. And I think it's just a great piece for, you know, that woman in your life, whether it be your mother or your wife or your girlfriend or, you know, perhaps a best friend. The reason why we chose that is just because it has some neutral tones. I find that a lot of women, when they dress, they want something nice and neutral. They don't want something that pops out too much. They're using their outfit or perhaps something else to accentuate themselves. So I think, you know, Omega is a brand that everybody recognizes, so it's something that's really interesting. You know, in the price point that we're talking about, you know, about $1,000, give or take. You know, I just think you can't go wrong with something vintage when it comes to vintage Omega. You also have some gold tones here with the hands on the handset and on the dial itself with the numerals. And, you know, being at that price point, I think it's a great gift because so often people are like, hey, I want to give a gift of a watch, but, you know, perhaps they're on a budget, or maybe they don't know the person as well as maybe they'd like. For instance, you know, if you've been married, you know, 20, 30, 40 years, as my parents have, I think they just got past their 40th wedding anniversary. So he looked into getting her a watch. And when you're married for that long, you know, more expensive gift is definitely appropriate, you know, because you know that person's sticking around 40 years, 50 years, you know, even 10, 25 years, you know, that person is around. But if it's somebody who, you know, perhaps it's your first anniversary dating, or perhaps they're not huge into watches, but you want to get them something, and you're like, hey, you know, if I get them a Rolex, or I get them an AP, or I get them, you know, something a little bit more expensive, it's not going to be as appreciated as much because they're not very into timepieces the way that I am as their partner. And of course, you know, I'm here as a watch dealer to educate them and do everything to the best of my ability, but we all have different interests. You know, when I see a watch that I really like, I go bananas about it, and not everyone's that way. Some people are just like, hey, nice watch. Hey, it's just an accessory. It's an added accessory. You know, a lot of women, why our you know, our customer base is mostly men, is because a lot of women will just see it as an additional accessory, just like their makeup or their hairpin or their heels. It's a nice to have, but it's not something they want to spend a whole lot of money on. So when you look that way, I think that this vintage Omega at around $1,000 is the way to go. It measures at about 35 millimeters, so it's a great wrist size for a woman who, you know, might have a little bit more modest of a wrist size. And again, that brand recognition of, hey, it's an Omega is beautiful. It's the way to go. So picking a piece that's perhaps for the young adult in your life, whether that be your child, your nephew, maybe someone that you're fostering, or somebody who is in your life, uh, that you appreciate, that maybe, they're a young person, and they don't yet have that expensive taste, or they don't have that knowledge base to, you know, get them into timepieces, but you want to get them into something that they will really enjoy. This here is a Seiko. Now, this is a Seiko Pepsi on the Jubilee bracelet, and I think that it's a beautiful piece. Something like this could be had for about $500, and I think it is a great gift for the young adult in your life. Like I said, whether it be a son or a daughter, or just somebody in your life who you want to treat to a bit more expensive of a holiday gift this year. The thing I really like about this is it's a little bigger at about 42 millimeters. The regular Pepsis are 40. So if you're not, if you like the Pepsi look, but you want a bigger piece, something above the 40 millimeter mark, I think the Seiko Pepsi is the way to go. And as we all know, the Pepsi models are one of the most popular Rolex models to date. So, I mean, to get a young person into something like this, and it's something that they're going to enjoy. It's something that, hey, it's I would call it a homage in a sense. It's a homage to the original Rolex Pepsi. There's of course the vintage Pepsi, which can be had for about anywhere from $9,000 to $11,000. But to get the Seiko Pepsi and still have that dive watch function and stuff like that, I think it's awesome. I mean, it's a dive watch. It's a watch that you can beat around a little bit and not be too worried about, basically what's going to go on, what's going to happen there. So I think in that sense, it's a great piece for a young adult. The reason why I chose this piece is just because of the versatility of it. Again, it's a piece that's got a lot of recognition. It's a piece that they can beat up a little bit. Young kids, they aren't super, let's say, careful with their belongings. So you get a couple dust dives, you get a couple dings on this thing. It's much better than doing that on a Pepsi, or doing that maybe on, a starter Breitling or a starter Omega that, might cost you anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000. I think that's a great gift as well, but I think maybe if I was a parent, which I am not yet, I would wait until my child was, maybe in their teen years before I went and got them something like a Breitling or an Omega of that caliber that I think we are all thinking. So I think a Seiko is the way to go. And then finally you have a Submariner. This is a Submariner no date. And it is a vintage style. And I think it's really sweet. It's a 14060, and the reason why I chose this is because of just the heritage of the dial and the heritage of the watch itself. It's got a little bit of tritium. This particular example does have papers rather, and I think that for a man in your life that you respect, or any older person that you respect, I think this is the real upper echelon of watchmaking when it comes to, hey, what's a good gift? A gift that I think will be universally appreciated amongst watch lovers that maybe have not reached this level of collecting yet. I mean, quite frankly, if I'm wearing myself an AP or a Patek and somebody gave me a 14060 as a gift, I'd be very, very happy about it. And it's just a great gift. It's got a little bit of heritage there. It's got some miles on it, of course, but I think it just adds to that vintage appeal and that charm that these vintage pieces get. At 40 millimeters, it's going to fit most wrists, so that's always a great thing. When you go holiday shopping, we work with a clothing company as well, and when you go holiday shopping, you get the wrong size. It's always very tough. So You know, at 40 millimeters, it's going to fit most people. You're not going to have some guy who says, hey, it's maybe too big for my wrist, or maybe it's too small for my wrist. It's kind of that universal size. If you have a more modest wrist, it might not be the best bet for you. You might be looking for a 36, and in that regard, we can guide you towards a better option. But I just think, you know, around $8,000 for a piece like this, I mean, I know my father would appreciate it. You know, my brothers, my friends, would just really enjoy something like this. And, you know, again, I went with the no date because I like that more simplistic dial. The date is nice and the date wheel is cool, but I feel like a lot of times with watches, very few people would use those functions um, to, you know, basically build something. So, again, if I had a choice of 3 watches, I think these 3 are great gifts. Like I said, for the woman in your life, for the young adult in your life, and for the father figure in your life. And, you know, hopefully this was very helpful to give you guys some insight. I know that, you know, the holidays are literally within the next day or two. But if there's anything you need, feel free to reach out. And it's never too late. Of course, you know, people are going to be returning stuff the next couple days. Maybe it's something they don't like. Maybe it's something they want to, you know, change out. There's something that they found that they like better. So it's never too late to, you know, go shopping and find something that might interest them and that they would appreciate. And hopefully, you know, the loved one that you are gifting appreciates every gift that you give to them. But, you know, if you miss the mark and maybe they are unhappy with the gift, you know, we're here to, you know, support you in any way that we can. And again, we appreciate you watching this video. And if you could give it a like and a thumbs up, that would be wonderful, as it helps the YouTube algorithm and hopefully gets, you know, this little baby channel up and running and working to provide as much value as we can. Thanks. Bye-bye. Happy holidays.